it, man.
You thought we was playing. We are live right now. It's your boy, Big Cell, FHO's HNIC, Mr. MB Everywhere.
Good morning. What's going on, man? It's Saturday morning. I'm doing my FHO 10. FHO 10 is a series in which you send me a question and I answer it. I got 10 minutes to answer it, break it down as fast as I possibly can. Okay, today's question. Big Cell, in starting a motorcycle club, what are the officers, how many officers, what are their roles, what are their duties? Okay, real quick, I'm going to try to get this one answered. Okay, in starting a motorcycle club, you need 5 members. Technically, the traditional way to start a club is 5, 7, or 9, the odd number. The reason why you're on odd number, I'll explain that in a little while. But you always start a club with odd numbers, 5, 7, or 9. You got to have a minimum of 5. And the reason why you got to have a minimum of 5 members is because you need a president, a vice president, a secretary, a treasurer, and a sergeant at arms. You cannot start a club with no less than that. Now, when it comes to the officers and their titles, the president should be somebody who has good leadership skills, who has the ability to stay calm under pressure, who can be fair and rational, somebody who understands how to deal with people and communicate. And there it is there, my man 65 on Dubs, odd for the vote, that part right there. But somebody who is very well and good with communicating and is a public person, a person that gets along well with the public because he is the face of the club. He is the one that goes out and represents, he doesn't go out, but his face is the representation of the club. He has to be able to to deal with the public and to be, basically level-headed and all other stuff that's involved with being a leader. Now, the vice president is one of the most important roles, and it's the hardest role. The vice president role is actually somewhat more important than the president role, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the vice president runs the club. All club activity, all club understanding, all club membership, all club everything is under the vice president's control. He runs the club. He handles decisions, debates. He is the one that is at that point almost the highest ranking person that you can go to as a regular club member until it is escalated up because it's beyond his control. And then the president has to make a decision. So the vice president's job is to run the day-to-day operations, the day-to-day weekly duties and everything else of the club. He is to handle the membership situation and the whole 9 yards. All right, so that's the role of the vice president. A lot of work being the vice president. What up, Jeff? All right, and then third, you have your secretary. The secretary is important based on the fact that it should be somebody that can read, write, that can understand and communicate as well, because that's what they have to do. They have to be able to record what is said, when it was said, dates, time, and everything as far as all of the meeting agenda notes, etc. And the secretary is the person who has to keep up with all of your paperwork. They have to keep up with the bylaws. They have to keep up with who signed the bylaws, and just all of everything that's documented. All documentation is a part of the secretary's job. So the secretary should always have him a file or something that he can keep records of, and he should have somebody that should be able to come up with a decent filing system in the whole 9 yards. Fourth, and in no particular order, you can say treasurer next or sergeant at arms next, but we'll go with the treasurer. The treasurer should be somebody that's trustworthy, hands down, somebody that can't be moved or can't be persuaded by any member in the club, by the president, vice president, or whatever. The treasurer's job is to keep track of all monies that the club makes, all activities, what it costs, what it would cost, to give a projection of if we can afford it or cannot afford it, the whole 9 yards. That is the job of the treasurer, just to simply say, hey, this is how much money we got, and he should be able to relay this to all members, period. Any member of a club has the right at any time to ask how much money we have in the account. Any member. If you are a fully vested paid dues member, you have the right to question the secretary about the balance of the account at any given time. How much money we got in the bank, blah, 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 blah. And a good treasurer will give a report every week. If you're in a club and they're not giving you a treasury report, it just may be something going on. I'm not saying it is, but it just may be something going on, because there should be nothing hidden with your money, because that's your money. You're paying dues and you're doing whatever work that is associated or has to be associated with the money coming into the club. And then last but not least, the sergeant at arms. The sergeant at arms is the most hated job in the club. The reason why the sergeant at arms is the most hated job in the club is because the sergeant at arms is one of the cats that he's cool with everybody, but he ain't nobody friend, period. Because his job is to exact order. His job is to exact discipline. His job is to see things before they happen and correct them so that they don't happen. His job is to tell you, hey, man, you're drinking too much, sit your ass down, no more drinks. And he has to be a person that is respected to the point to where when he tells you that, you don't question it. You just you honor it, you adhere to it, and done. Does he have to be the strongest and the baddest fighter in the club? No, because understand this. If your sergeant at arms gives a command to any member and that member bucks a sergeant at arms, he bucked the whole club. And therefore, the whole club should be whooping his ass. It shouldn't be no fight between a member and a sergeant at arms. It should be a fight between a member and the whole club because you are disrespecting the sergeant at arms. You feel what I'm saying? If he gave you a command, and he has another part of that. The sergeant at arms job is the president on the road. Let me say that. And like I said, I can get into a lot of this, but let me just say this: the sergeant at arms is the sergeant at arms of the club. His job is the safety and security of the club at all times. At all times. So, for example, when your club goes out of town, that's his job is to protect everybody. That's his job to make sure that everybody's protected, that everybody's accounted for. You know, if he says, "Hey, man, we're gonna park all the bikes over here," then you park all the bikes over here. If he a good secretary, if you're going out of town, is the person who's gonna book the rooms. Okay, they're gonna try to book all of you guys' room on the same floor. You don't want to have members on the 10th floor, 8th floor. I mean, if you have to do that, then fine. But a good secretary and a good sergeant at arms, when it's time to move the club, when it's time to move the crowd, MC, move the crowd, move the club, MC, motorcycle, when it's time to do that, the secretary, the treasurer, the secretary, the treasurer, and the sergeant at arms need to be on one accord because they need to say, hey, we're going, like, for example, FHOMA, we're going to Memphis. Okay, boom. We need to have the secretary, get with the secretary, book 10 rooms. We got 10 rooms going, you know, and this is the fairy tale MC. This doesn't happen in MCs. It's hard to do this, but this would be the fairy tale ideal MC. Hey, we're going to Memphis, 10 people going, we're going to book 10 rooms. Or 20 people going with 2 to a room, we're going to book 10 rooms. Hey, can we get 10 rooms all on the same floor? Boom. Then he lets the secretary, the treasurer know, hey, this is what it's going to cost for the 10 rooms. Put together the plan that the members should pay it back. Sergeant at arms, okay, hey, we got our 10 rooms, we good. Boom. Once he gets there, his job is to say, okay, I want all of our bikes parked right here. You know, blah, 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 blah. It all works together as a team, and you see the importance of each and every part of it. Now, once they get that done, they report that to the vice president. And the vice president says, okay, cool, I like that plan. I'll run it by the president. They say to the president, hey, we're going to Memphis. Everything is covered, blah, 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 blah. Now, the president, and like I said, I probably have to get into this a little longer. The president is only the president per se when he is in his hometown. When you move out of your hometown, when you're traveling, when you're going from Atlanta, if you're based in Atlanta, I'm just going to use Atlanta. You're based in Atlanta, Georgia. Once you leave outside of Atlanta, Georgia, then your road captain on the road while you're moving becomes president. It can get kind of tricky, but I don't want to give y'all too much. Now, let's get into this. The road captain is not a position. It's a title. What else do you got? The PRO. It's not a position. It's a title. These are not positions. There's only 5 positions in the motorcycle club: president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, sergeant at arms. Those other 3 are in no particular order. All right, like I said, I can get more into this, but that was just a brief. I got 2 more coming behind this, so stay tuned for that. I got to do 10 more. Can there be an assistant sergeant at arms? If the sergeant at arms needs an assistant, he can deputize somebody to be sergeant at arms for this particular movement or this particular trip or this particular situation, but that's solely up to him, period, point blank. That ain't up to the president or the vice president. If the sergeant at arms needs some help, he should be a man enough to say, hey, I need some help, and then he can appoint whatever help based on whatever the rules of the club are. All right, that's my 10 minutes. It's been fun, man. Stay tuned. I got about 2 more to do. I've been getting behind on these questions, but I'm getting them knocked out today.
You thought we was playing. We are live right now.